Okay, it's Friday the 6th of March, we knew that already. Early afternoon now actually. We're in the wonderful, wonderful place of WORDWELL. You couldn't make that up, could you? The name WORDWELL. It's got so many meanings if everyone wants to look online and find out why it's called that. This church was established and built, it's the original construction, 1126. So we're talking right into the Templars' time. It was used by Knights Templars in the area. Again, when we go into the 1300s, into the midpoint of the 1300s, it was used as sanctuary for the Templars as they were fleeing parts of Europe under demise. So it's got so much history here, which is amazing. It certainly feels nice. It's again run by the English Conservation Churches Trust, which is lovely. Quite like the window up there at the top, you can see there. Little try and scale in. If you look really closely, you can see the pyramid within the flower, which you don't see that very often, to be fair. So it's a pyramid, a little triangle pyramid, ascending within a little petal flower. Very Masonic actually, but then which came first, the chicken or the egg? The Masons came after. That's at least we forget. So, nice to walk in. They've got the little table there. This is actually the organ. We can't lift it up to show you the original church organs. They're using it as their little table now. But we can see we've got the paddles on there. So I'd imagine that this church organ is probably in good working order. The prize catch of this church in every way, shape and form is the wonderful here. You see, we've got the wonderful thing. You could almost mistake that for being Sumerian, actually. If you look at any Sumerian clay tablet pictures, dictations of, you will certainly see that style, this particular style. Now notice the height, they're quite short people in there. What I particularly like about it is that the right-hand side statue, the figurine, we'll call them figurines for now, people have different views. Some say it's St. Catherine, or it's St. this or St. that. It's none of them. There's another reason for why it is what it is. This particular statue, they're both male statues. They're not male and female, they're both male. This one's holding a ring, which is amazing. And the ring is being given to the other male. Not in that context. It's not a marriage, it's more of a binding ceremony. So that's what we're seeing here, is a binding with God. So quite an interesting little piece of sculpture work there. You don't see it very often, that's for sure, not in English churches, so that's really interesting. As we go around here, just moving on from there, we've got the wonderful things, so they're all carved like cannibals and things, which are beautiful works. A little bit of woodwork over the years, you expect, but yeah, very nice indeed. So you can imagine these Knights Templars all coming through here. Now, if anyone ever sees any of the paintings of the famous paintings called the Accolade, you can almost imagine that this is pretty much like the Accolade, because you've got the steps coming up as the Templar comes through to bow and drop and bow and drop and bow and drop thrice the times. He would bow and drop. So he, as he would do, as he went up each step, he'd bow and drop. So bow and drop, and he comes to here, and with his sword comes down, bow and drop, and up again, bow and drop, and then reaches the altar. So it's an amazing place, really. It's kept very well. Obviously, the local people obviously look after it very well with the volunteers. Lovely patterns on the floor, we can see that. Lots of Gaelic representations in particular. We can see earth, air, fire and water. We can see the obviously the most important one, as we all know, is the south and the west, the water and the fire, because that's what gives us our pure light. So we know from history that the southwestern quadrant is always the most important. And in Masonic terms, they say, why did you leave the east to travel west? They say west to east, and then they say later on east to west. In search of light in craft. However, when they get to west, they don't find the light in craft. Yeah? Because then in the west, they're later on told in their degrees, from the 42nd degree upwards, they're then told that you need to head south to find the light in craft. Because they move from the east to the west, and then they're told to go south, which is southwest, isn't it? So southwest is always important, because that is your pure light from the compass points, as it were. Interesting artworks, they're much more modern, restored, but they're still quite pretty, really, and quite nice. I quite like the cow emblem at the top. I don't know if anyone else can see that, but if you ever look at this video and watch this video, You can see the representation of the cow. Now you could say that's a cow, which I can see the cow straight away in it, all through its intricate designs. We've got the fanfare wheel, and then we've got the trichlocyte aspect to the right and a trichlocyte aspect to the left, on the left ear. I can see there as well. That's quite interesting. Up here at the top, high altar, nice cloths, pretty modern. I'd say they're probably like 1900s at the best, but from the guild and that, it looks more like a sort of, it could be older. I doubt it. It's been replaced, but nicely replaced. Lovely petals on there. Always like to see the flowers of life. And we've got the wonderful tulips as well. So we've got the daisy and the tulip. Again, other people will have a different school of thought and say, oh, that's not right. It is right. You've got your daisy and you've got your tulips. And then you've got here the wonderful Exodus chapter there, about God spake these words and said, I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt have none other gods but me. Always interesting to know that, isn't it? We're so flexible in the United Kingdom, yet those who profess to follow the faith and the path, it says very clearly there, thou shalt have none other gods but me. So there's no other gods apart from God. There's angels, there's jinn, we know that already, but there's no other gods. That's most important. Around here we'll see this generally as a church. It's a really tiny church. It does par, as Janice said, which is quite right actually, it does par the sort of same level. Not the age, this is older than the one in my village, but the church in Meeple in Cambridgeshire, St Mary's, that's it pars a similar sort of size to that really, to be fair. So that's, yeah, very nice indeed.